there's a level of, I guess, like social pressure that turns into like almost like personal pressure or personally induced pressure, which is the idea of doing nothing. Um, that is kind of, I feel like it's so interesting and almost comical that we can put ourselves through so much pressure if we feel like we're doing nothing. That in the act of doing nothing, there's shame that we can feel. Um, and it's even more interesting when you realize that um, who gets to define what nothing is or what nothing isn't is completely everyone's guess. When I was growing up, I guess it doesn't happen as much anymore. But I guess I'm probably not safe from it in a sense. But there would be people who would. I was I was and still am like really into video games. So there were people who would make some judgments of that when it came to the way in which I was spending my time. Now, those same people would spend similar amounts of time watching TV or doing some other thing, that everyone has ways in which they spend their time. Um, and if we're going around defining what value everyone, what value that has for other people, what are we really trying to do? Like, what's sort of like the end game of defining how other people spend their time or how we ourselves spend our time, as opposed to just asking the simple question of, is this something that I want to be doing? And if it isn't, like if it truly isn't, if it isn't a thing where you're putting pressure on yourself because of what other people are gonna think, but you personally feel like you could be doing other things, or that's the thing that you want to be doing, I think there's a lot of value to that, a lot of value to having that exploration. And the reason I'm kind of like explaining all this or talking about all this is that a practice that I was doing recently is taking 30 minutes a day to just relax, to straight up do nothing. Um, there's different ways in which you can do it. I would set up a timer of basically, I would set up a timer, sort of like a recurring timer sort of deal, that would make a very subtle sound every 5 minutes. And then the sixth time, so at 30 minutes, it would make a very particular but also still subtle sound. And so I would just kind of like sit down and close my eyes and just kind of like relax. For the first maybe 5 minutes, I'd try to like think about certain things or organize certain thoughts. But then the rest of the time, I try to like take it easy. Sometimes I'd lay down on the floor. Sometimes I'd lay down on the floor with like the window open in the middle of winter. So I would take that moment to like feel the feeling, feel what that feels like. To notice, maybe like itches or things that happen. But even though this might sound like a sort of meditation or something like that, and it might just well be, I think what I'm saying here more is I think there's some value in some like maybe like a sense of liberation for yourself in taking time of your day. In 30 minutes, I feel like was a good time for me, not too much, not too little, in which you are just being, in which you're not doing anything, which you're just kind of just chilling there. You don't have to fight your thoughts. You don't have to sit there and observe your thoughts. You don't have to observe your breathing. You can do it if you want to. You can count in your mind. You can do. There's no way that you can do this thing wrong, and you can have some fun with it. maybe try like different breathing patterns. Maybe try to make like different sounds with I don't know what you could make different sounds with when you're just kind of doing nothing. Um, but just taking that time to do nothing, I think helps us sort of like be at peace with ourselves, sort of like be at peace with whatever we're doing being okay, and not having to always be striving towards something, not having to always be pushing and shoving to get towards a goal or a particular metric, or to meet someone's expectation or whatever it is. Just taking a moment to chill the fuck down. And you don't even need to like try to enjoy the moment. You don't need to try to not enjoy the moment, whatever it is. Just take that time for yourself and see what happens. But overall, I think there's a lot of power in just taking time to relax. And you can even do it if maybe you don't have like a quiet space in which you can do it, but maybe you're in the bus where you have to take the bus, or there's certain times of the day in which you're just kind of like, you need a break from whatever it is you're doing. Just do 5 minutes and kind of just sit there and do nothing. Maybe put some music on and put like a timer on the 5 minutes. Maybe just something that I like to do sometimes. I think there's a particular idea where, in a sense, what you're looking at is what is in your mind. So if you're looking at nothing, if you're looking at like a hole, it's like your mind becomes a hole and it becomes empty. So something I enjoy doing sometimes, it's just staring out into whatever. So maybe like staring out into the sky, and then just doing that for an awkward amount of time, because and just kind of like observing what happens until I feel like I need to stop, and then I just kind of like stop or go do something else. So again, there's many ways of taking time for yourself and sort of like relaxing both physically and mentally, and there's absolutely no way of doing it wrong. So I would definitely recommend going and trying out different things and seeing what works for you and what doesn't, and especially like also like how you feel when you're doing it.